Hey Quinn, hey Quintessential, hey Volvo, struggling to talk right now. Hey Yana, I had a dentist appointment this morning and they shot me in the mouth with Novocaine, so I can't feel half my face. Yeah. Anyway, as I was on my way home, I was perusing my political blogs, and I had intended to come on here and have a politics of it all and talk CPAC. Hey Amber, but with some of the things that are going on right now, nope, can't even talk CPAC. Gotta go ahead and just delve right into it. We ain't gonna even try and act like we're not gonna be spiking today. We will be spiking today. Not gonna even sugarcoat it for y'all. It's a lot going on. Women, there's gonna be a very important piece of legislation that is passed that you all are gonna want to pay attention to in a few minutes. Y'all know I like to be very open, honest, and forthcoming with y'all about everything so that you all can be informed um, of everything that is going on. All right, so let me go ahead and start um, with this first story. Hello to everybody. Shondo's across the building, Shondo's around the room. Just want to come here and give y'all what we give y'all and give y'all everything that you deserve with regard to politics. Haven't been on here in a while, but there are some pressing things that are on the horizon and that are out there right now that we all need to be informed of. And that's why I'm here to inform you of these things. So let's get right down to it. So the first one is um, Dr. Cornell West, um, famed Black intellectual, a member of the Black intelligentsia, has made the news in the last 48 hours or so. Um, when he tweeted out his resignation letter from Harvard School of Divinity. And in his tweet, he tweeted, "This is my candid letter of resignation to my Harvard dean. I tried to tell unvarnished truth about the decadence in our market-driven universities. Let us bear witness against this spiritual rot." Now, it goes, his letter reads, and let's see how good my eyes are this morning. God, I can't see. I hope and pray you and your family are well. It's dated June 30th. I hope and pray you and your family are well. This summer is a scorcher. Here's my brief and candid letter of resignation. How sad it is to see our beloved Harvard Divinity School in such decline and decay. The disarray of a scattered curriculum, the disenchantment of talented yet deferential faculty, and the discrimination of precious students loom large. When I arrived 4 years ago with a salary less than what I received 15 years earlier with no tenure status after being a university professor at Harvard and Princeton, I hoped and prayed I could still end my career with the semblance of intellectual intensity and personal respect. How wrong I was. With a few glorious and glaring exceptions, the shadow of Jim Crow was cast in its glittering form. I'm sorry, was cast in its new glittering form, expressed in the language of superficial diversity. All my courses were I can't even see, dear God, were subsumed under Afro American religious studies, including those on existentialism, American democracy, and the conduct of life. no possible summer salary alongside the lowest increase possible every year. Yet I delivered two convocation addresses and one commencement speech in 4 years. I was promised a year sabbatical, but could only take one semester in practice. And to witness a faculty enthusiastically support a candidate for tenure, then timidly defer to a rejection based on the Harvard administration's hostility to the Palestinian cause was disgusting. We all knew the mendacious reasons given had nothing to do with academic standards. When my committee recommended a tenure review, also rejected by Harvard administration, I knew my academic achievements and student teaching meant far less than their political prejudices. Even my good friends in the Afro American and African Studies Department were paralyzed, given their close relations to the administration. And after teaching extra courses, including 5 courses in 1 year, the silence continued. When the announcement of the death of my beloved mother appeared in the regular newspaper, I received two public replies, just as that of my colleague Dr. Jacqueline Olga Cook Rivers, who received none when her beloved mother died. Any ordinary announcement about a lecture, award, or professional advancement receives about 20 replies. This kind of narcissistic academic professionalism, cowardly deference to the anti-Palestinian prejudices of the Harvard administration, and indifference to my mother's death constitute an intellectual and spiritual bankruptcy of deep depths. In my case, a serious commitment to veritas requires resignation, with precious memories but absolute no regrets. Cornell West. You all forgive my reading. The type is so small. I was struggling to get through it, but I got through it. Hey Tanya, hey MBN, hey Marty. Okay, so Dr. Cornell West had once worked for Harvard before. He also worked for Princeton, and he returned to Harvard's divinity school. But Dr. Cornell West was not given tenure. Let me say that to you again. The famed Dr. Cornell West, heralded for his intellect around the world, was not offered tenure at Harvard. Nothing to do with the traditional standards and requisites by which one is allotted tenure, because he is well published, he is well researched, he has done research, he has published in scholarly journals, he has traveled, all of the things that you need, he has taught, he's elected all of the things that you need to be assured tenure. You know where this um, but you know where this really comes from, but he wasn't offered tenure. And I'm gonna tell you where this comes from. It comes from his views on Palestine and his views on that whole situation over there between Israel and Palestine. And because of his views on that, and because the Harvard big shots are pro-Israel, anti-Palestine. Hey, B.R. Burns. That is why they were punishing Dr. Cornell West. He even talked in his letter about all of his courses were reduced to being Afro-American religious studies courses, as opposed to just regular course. They had to have that moniker attached to it, because anything that he taught had to be under the cloak of, oh, this is Afro-American about it. And so the fact that there was this as he called it, discrimination and racism there. And there was the treatment of him. He talked about the treatment of other members of the faculty and staff. He talked about how y'all be replying to everybody else when they parents die, or when they have accomplishment, y'all ain't doing none of that for me. And he knows where it stems from. He's aware that it stems from him. What's going on, Tabitha? All right. He knows that this stems from the higher ups and the powers that be down to Harvard, who you know are very well politically connected, who have their hands and foot in all things politics and all things surrounding this nation and where this nation goes politically. This nation has an an uncomfortable marriage with Israel at the behest of countries who Israel has done horrible things to. And that's why Dr. Cornel West, now I'm going to be honest, I haven't been the biggest Dr. Cornel West fan. When there was that whole thing between him and Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, I was all team Michael Eric Dyson. But with this, in this case, we know what's happening here with Dr. Cornel West. Here you have a black man of phenomenal and limitless intelligence who speaks out, and because he spoke out against on a subject that they didn't necessarily agree with, now he has to be punished. And see, what universities expect is that professors will silently take their punishment, put their head down, and keep it moving. Because these university chancellors and university presidents and provosts, they all hang in the same circles, and they will blacklist you in a minute. So apparently Cornel West is going to I forgot the name of the school, but he's going to a smaller school, divinity school, one that he's been at before, much smaller than Harvard and stuff like that. But what we got going on is it's the censoring. As much as we'd like to think that colleges are supposed to be the beacons for educational and academic freedom, they are not. Especially when you get to the levels of the Harvards, Yales, Princeton, and some of the other Ivy League schools who are connected politically, who take a lot of money from individuals, a lot of money and capital from individuals, and with that money comes them those individuals being able to tell the university, no, I need you to move this way. No, I need you to move that way. No, I need you to punish this person. No, I need you to tell that professor to shut up. No, I need you to tell this professor they need to be quiet. They don't need to teach that. That is how this goes. These are businesses, and university presidents and chancellors and provosts and deans and stuff like that. They are going to side with the money because they always say their first job is to bring money in the building. So you have a situation now. Now, Dr. Cornel West put this out in the dead of night on Monday night. And so by the time it hit the blogosphere and started making its rounds, people had already been tweeting and everything. And by the time the university had a chance to try to respond, baby, that thing had already caught hellfire. And that's what's going on now. I really wonder. See, even before we talk about Dr. Cornel West and his views on Palestine and how they were hating on him for that and trying to silently punish him for that, we have to take into consideration just the fact that he's black, and a lot of this comes from him being black. You see how they changed the subject, the titles of his courses, and pigeonholed him into all of his courses are now African American religious studies instead of just in the religious studies program, because that's not how his course was designed. That wasn't in the course description, but they added it. And how over and over and over he wanted to be able to have intellectual and educational freedom, and he did not. And so that's what we're dealing with here. Sad. It is very sad, Tanya. But this is in highest levels of academia. This is what I mean when I keep telling you all, as much as we'd like to think it's going to get better, because we think of colleges and university institutions as the most liberal of places and things like that. But when you really dig inside and dig deep into the ins and outs of what runs universities on all level, be it Ivy League, be it regular state school, be it a private institution, even HBCUs. These are businesses, and there are things that university presidents and university chancellors and provosts and deans do in order to bring money in. And if they got a person writing a big enough check, that person can ensure that their beliefs and ideologies will be heard and will be, taught at that university. I'm just telling you what I know. Telling y'all what I know. Anyway, um, I really feel like I should have, but I brought that to you all because remember we have the disrespect. Remember the disrespect of black academia is not new. This has been going on for years and years and years. I mean, it just started to rear its ugly head a lot more publicly when we had Dr. Nicole Hannah Jones, and now Dr. Cornel West. And the attack on Black academia is on front page news, is on full scale. When you hear people talking about this attack on CRT, you have to also acknowledge that this is an attack on Black people in education. This is an attack on Black academia and the Black intelligentsia. So much so, they want to ostracize and make these people seem like they are whack jobs, and that the research and writings that they produce and the things that they teach are, you know, um, out there or outliers and things like that when they're speaking truth, when they're really speaking truth. But we see that white people don't want the truth. They want no parts of the truth. They want no parts of accurate telling of history. They want nothing that's um going to make them feel bad about themselves because they're anthropomorphic and narcissistic. So, but yeah, but I mean, to play devil's advocate, Dr. Cornel West left Harvard years ago in a blaze of glory there. So, Union Theological Seminary, that's where he's going. Um, and he taught there before. That's where he's going. Union Theological Seminary. I needed to look that up. But yes, that's what's going on with Dr. Cornel West. So sad. But this is what this is America. This is America. In our next story, y'all know I usually be leading up to things. We just, we're leaving the shallow end and going deeper into the water before I get to the deep end and lose my goddamn mind. All right. So Kevin McCarthy, yes, that Kevin McCarthy, um, minority leader of the House of Representatives, the House Minority Leader, that Kevin McCarthy, one of the worst human beings on the planet, decided, as always, as all white people do, to invoke the name of Martin King. Because white people always feel that if they want to talk to black people or talk about issues concerning race and black people and racism, they want to invoke the name of Martin King because that's the only person they know. And then when they do invoke his name or use one of his quotes, they use parts of the quotes, or they use it in the wrong context, or they'll parcel it out or paraphrase it to a point where it has none of the meaning that it has when Martin King said it. But in his continued attack on critical race theory, okay, Kevin McCarthy tweeted out this quote, critical race theory goes against everything Martin Luther King Jr. taught us to not judge others by the color of their skin. The left is trying to take America backwards. Really? Really? Really, Kevin McCarthy? That's what we're doing today? I let me let y'all hear this sound bite. Hold on. Hold on. I just wanted y'all to hear it. Right? Critical race goes against everything Martin Luther King has ever told us. Don't judges by the color of skin. Now they're racist, right? They're going back. Critical race. So that is Kevin McCarthy. Of course, once you start this train, there's no stopping it. So you know, Black Twitter and the people were here for it. They were here for all of it. They began to school Kevin McCarthy on really what Martin Luther King Jr. was saying. Some of his real quotes. Somehow Martin Luther King really eviscerated white people during his lifetime, and it didn't just happen at the end. He was doing it way back in the 50s before he got to the peak of his influence and power. Martin King was speaking bad about white people way back then, all the way up until his death. Listen, Kevin McCarthy and his people, why don't y'all find one of y'all white people that y'all look up to quote, okay? Because you can't. Why don't you look and find a white person that's having all of these wonderful quotes about racism and how black people should be treated? Because you can't. And I'm not saying that because there aren't any white people that have done it. I'm saying they can't because they're not going to do the homework. I'm saying that they can't because they're not intellectually savvy enough, or they don't even have the intellectual wherewithal and fortitude to even do a quick Google search of any white person that they can find that has anything quote worthy or noteworthy with regard to race. Well, who am I? All right. I sped through that because I want to get to this next story. That's the same old hate against critical race theory. Okay. Now, this next story, ladies, I need y'all to pay attention to this. Ladies, if you got a friend, you need to have that friend come listen to this part. Or this is the part where if you're telling your friend, go back and watch the replay, start right here at the 24-minute mark of this video so that you know this is where women, we need to be concerned. Okay. Now, here is where I told y'all this country is trying to go backwards. They believed in that MAGA, Make America Great Again. They wholeheartedly believe in that. And they wholeheartedly want to send this country back more than 100 years, okay? To where it was more than 100 years, when only Christian Anglo white men had any power, ability, and or influence in this country. Here we go, women. If y'all didn't think this stuff was serious, here we go. In the great state of Texas, there's been a bill passed in the state legislature that is going to the desk. I believe it already got to the desk of Governor Greg Abbott. You want to know what this law does? Want to know what this law does? Somebody give me an idea of what they think this law does while I get me an almond joy. What do y'all think this law that they're passing in the great state of Texas would say? Y'all got a lot going on. Y'all got a lot going on in Texas. We're talking about the same state of Texas that is that has passed laws against teaching racism or teaching slavery. The same state of Texas that now allows people to buy handguns or any type of gun without a license, without certifications, and without background checks. The same state of Texas that is trying, and we'll get there in a second. We're on the state of Texas. I'm asking them what law do they think the state of Texas just passed scams. What's up? Let me just cut to the chase. The great state of Texas just passed a law which says that someone can sue. Well, let me read to you what it says. Okay. The provision passed by this state legislature is a bill that bans abortions after a doctor detects a fetal heartbeat, usually at about 6 weeks of pregnancy. Now, we talked about that bill. We talked about the fact that they were passing that bill. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. But now this new law goes even further. The new law would allow everyday Texans to sue abortion clinics, doctors, or anyone else who aids in someone in terminating a pregnancy, even if the plaintiff in the suit has no connection to the abortion or anyone involved. Let that sit in. Let me let that sink in. This is according to the New York Times. The new law will allow everyday Texans to sue abortion clinics, doctors, or anyone else who aids in terminating a pregnancy, even if the plaintiff in the suit has no connection to the abortion or anyone involved. I'm gonna get there in a second, Tracy. That's my last story, Tracy. I'm gonna get there. So what that means is this. I'm gonna tell y'all what is happening over there in Texas. See, Texas is about that life, okay? They are about that life. And so what they're going to do is, y'all know the billionaires that you have per capita in Texas, probably more than a whole lot of other places because of the oil and so forth. So you got a lot of wealthy, well-to-do people with money to throw around, with litigations that could happen. I thought some sort of bounty was involved as well. I'm not sure about that. I have to look that up. Um, and so forth. But Texas and their wayward conservative politicians and government officials is here for this kind of stuff. So what you're saying is, if I'm a Karen or a Tom, male version of Karen, and I don't see it for these Hispanic, Latinx, or black people that's around here getting all these good abortions, or this poor white trash that's around here getting an abortion, and I'm pro-life, and I want to prove a point in being pro-life. So I'm not only going to sue the whole clinic, I'm going to sue the doctor, I'm going to sue the nurse practitioners, I'm going to sue the LPN, the RN, I'm going to sue the clerk that works down there at the registration desk. I'm gonna sue the Uber driver that dropped her off. I'm suing everybody connected to this plan. And what you do now is you put people in a position of fear, because now you're gonna have people that might be a nurse or might be a nursing assistant or a PA, physician's assistant or doctor that say, "Yep, I'm not going down there to the abortion clinic because I got too many student loans, I got too much going on, and I ain't got it to do to be sued by this idiot and asshole with a point to prove." And the fact that you have governors and state legislatures that are sanctioning litigation of people involved with legally performing abortions. Last time I checked, abortions were legal throughout the 50 states. Last time I checked. You might be right, Tabitha. I got to look into it. Oh, I see what you're talking about. You're talking about the $10,000 situations. There is your. I see what you're talking about. So here's where what Tabitha is speaking of. The reason that we got to this point was they felt like it would be hard to get the government officials and politicians to do this because it's freaking illegal. Because abortions are legal in these yet to be United States of America. But my point being that they felt like, okay, a politician or a government official won't want to touch the whole 6 week abortion situation that is way beyond. I think that's illegal too. But you know where they say you can't have an abortion after 6 weeks. So they hold on, y'all. I don't know what's happening. Okay. So they not only are they know these politicians and people want to do it. So what they're doing is they passed this law to get everyday citizens, many of whom who got a lot more money than the average than the politicians to perform litigation. But even if you don't have the money, they so here's what the Times is saying. That enforcement would be up to government officials, and if clinics wanted to challenge the law's constitutionality, they would sue those officials in making their case. But the law in Texas prohibits officials from enforcing it. Instead, it takes the opposite approach, effectively deputizing citizens, including from outside Texas, to sue clinics and others who violate the law. It awards them at least $10,000 per illegal abortion if they are successful. So what they're saying is because the 6 week abortion situation, the medical field feels like it's illegal. So the abortion clinics were prepared to sue a government official who tried to tell them that this was illegal. So the Texas state legislature said, "Oh, that's what y'all gonna do? You sure? All right. Well, we'll pass this law that allows everyday citizens to do it. And not only does it allow everyday citizens to do it, but we'll give them $10,000 per for every successful case for every what they deem to be illegal abortion. Because now abortions are illegal at 6 weeks in the great state of Texas. I mean, Erica Mena, what if she wanted to listen? Erica Mena didn't find out. She said she found out she was pregnant till she was like 20 some weeks, didn't she, the other day? Like women sometimes find out well after. Now, I'm not an aficionado in all things, uterus, fallopian tubes, vagina, birth canal. But the last time I understood how the factory works, kind of, sometimes you can find out well after 6 weeks that you're pregnant. It happens all the time. So the fact that you're telling somebody that, because there are women who have still had periods and have been pregnant. That has happened. A mess. So Texas out here telling people basically, y'all go sue your here's $10,000. Here's the $10,000 carrot. I'm just saying. Basically, Texas is finding its own way to make abortions illegal. Texas is creating its own way and mechanism to outlaw abortions in these yet to be United States of America because they don't care. They don't care about how you feel. They don't care about a woman's rights. Texas say we are about this life. Texas is also trying to strip away your right to vote, whether or not you want to. They don't care about if even if you do legally go out and vote. They're also trying to pass laws that say, "Oh, you think you voted legally, and you think we just gonna let that go by? No, we're gonna snatch that, and we're gonna make up our own decision." This is what we got going on, y'all. This is what we and I told we're ladies, if y'all go back, y'all were here when we were having this live, and I talked about that 6 week law, and I told y'all this is not going to stop, it's going to keep going. And so now here's the dangerous part. Hold on. Here's the dangerous part. Here's the part that I keep harping on. Of course, it's going to end up in litigation because of the constitutionality of it, but it's going to keep rising higher and to a higher and higher level until it gets to the federal circuit. And when you start to get to those federal circuit, then what ends up happening is now you have to be met with all of those racist ass white men that Trump put in place, and Trump and McConnell put in place on the judicial in the judicial branch, and they ain't here for no parts of abortion. They all pro-choice. I mean pro-life. They all white evangelicals. They're all people who are not well knowledgeable and learned of constitutional law, but were just put there to do the bidding of McConnell and Trump. So now, as this thing goes to litigation, those conservatives know, oh yeah, go ahead and sue. Because as you keep appealing and it goes higher and higher, now you're getting to the level of our people, the people who we put in place. This stuff is getting dangerous. And people always be like, yeah, y'all talk about politics too much. Y'all just a little too woke. People tell me y'all, you just a little too woke. No, the problem is you ain't woke enough. Because there's stuff happening, and this stuff, and I'm not saying, I didn't say they're proposing this law. I said they passed this law. This isn't a law that's pending. This is a law that has been passed. This stuff is happening. And see, what will happen is you'll fall victim to one of these laws and thinking, oh, ignorance is an excuse, and it's not. Ignorance of it is not an excuse. They are not going to care that you said you didn't know. Matter of fact, they don't want you to know. It's getting serious out here. It's getting real, real, real serious. And if people don't wake up, they're going to find themselves waking up in places that they didn't think they were going to be waking up in. Exactly, Tabitha. This is all of the stuff that we've seen in some of these great shows that was like, oh, that's great fiction. Nope, that's great reality. That's the real reality TV. Watching some of them shows like Handmaid's Tale. That's going to end up being reality TV. Y'all laughing. I'm serious. This is what we got going on in the great state of Texas. But oh no, it gets better. Let's stay in Texas. Our piece de resistance in about Texas is the fact that the Democrats from the great state of Texas got big brass balls, and their balls and cojones are so big, brazen, and brash that they decided we're going over to Washington, D.C. to show the D.C. Democrats how big our balls are, and the fact that ours are bigger than theirs, and the fact that they need to take a lesson from us. So there's 150 members of the House in the great state of Texas. In order to pass this voter suppression law that Governor Abbott and the rest of the Jedediahs of the world and the far right wing of the Republican Party that are down there in the great state of Texas would love to just pass this law. They can't pass this voter suppression law without a quorum. Even if they know they have the numbers, if you don't have a quorum, you don't win. Now, typically, quorum is 50% plus one, but for the purposes of passing or passage of laws in the great state of Texas, they need 2/3 of the members of the House present. Present. Even to have a vote, they need to have 2/3 of all of them present. So 50 Democrats from the state of Texas said, we just not gonna go. Matter of fact, we leaving town. Greg Abbott, who's the governor of the state of Texas, said, oh, I know the fuck, because what happened was they did this earlier this year. Remember, we talked about that on one of my lives. They walked out and they told them, y'all think y'all finna vote on this? Not in our lifetime. And so they walked out. And so what happened is when they walked out, Greg Abbott said, I'm not having it. If y'all don't show up to I'm going to call a special session, because the Texas legislature is closed for the summer. They're closed. They ain't passing no law this summer break. But what happened was the governor of Texas said, nope, I'm calling a special session. I have that power. I'll do it. Bam, special session. Y'all report y'all ass back to Austin, Texas, so that we can get this bill passed. So what happened is when they knew that when the special session was happening, it had laughed. The special session was supposed to be for 30 days. So those Democrats said, oh, you want us to come? I don't know if it was exactly 30 days, but I know there's a finite number of days. They said, oh, we ain't going, because we know if you don't have 2/3, then you cannot vote. And so I think it was, I know at least 50 of those Democratic members of the Texas House of Representatives have left the state of Texas and flown to D.C. because once Greg Abbott knew that they weren't coming, he said, well, I'm authorizing the state police to arrest them. And let me tell you what else this clown said. Governor Greg Abbott, in threatening the politicians yesterday, this is what he said. He said he was going to arrest them as soon as they get back. And then he goes on to say they will be cabined inside the Texas Capitol until they get their job done. A mess. So now we're going to kidnap politicians if they don't do what you want them to do. Where does he think we are? Like, does he think we're in the stuff that is going on in these yet to be United States of America, which is supposed to be the house on top of the hill that every country in the world is supposed to look to as an example? They are behaving like they're in an authoritarian government. This is dictatorial type, authoritarianism type tactics, where you tell the politicians, y'all don't want to vote my way? Fine, I'm gonna lock you whores in this good Capitol building until y'all come out and tell me that y'all done figured it out and what the way I want y'all to go. Like, what are we doing? What is happening here? And nobody's saying anything. And now I see your question, Tabitha. I am not an expert on Texas law. There are some states, and Texas may be one of them, where there are when a special session is called, you have been summoned and you have to answer the summons. When the governor called a special session, he sends a summons, and if you don't answer the summons, you are deemed, you can be arrested or found in contempt, or whatever the language is, where they can say, nope, you didn't answer the summons, we can come and we can arrest you. Now, I don't know if this falls under that category, but even if you arrest all of these people, you still won't have the 50 people you need, or however many people you need to be there to count for the quorum. You still need the numbers. And so that's why he said we just gonna cabin them inside of the like what? You're so now we're at the point where we're kidnapping politicians. This is where we are in these yet to be United States of America. I'm not reading you something out of a script. I'm not reading you something out of, some movie that looks like it's gonna be real good or some horror or some dystopian society. I'm talking about here in these yet to be United States of America, where white people would think that this is the greatest country in the history of the world, and it's not. So the Texas, um, the Texas House said we about this life. Okay, now the bill already passed in the Texas Senate. Texas Senate, it already passed. The Texas House said, when you get to the House, that's where you get the real far, like you get the people, even in the United States House of Representatives and stuff. When you get to the House where you really represent the people, meaning you got one person per district, and so it's all sectioned off, you get some real extreme left and you get some real extreme right. And so you get people that are hell bent on proving a point when you get to the House level. And so these Dems on the in the Texas House say, yeah, we about this life. We're about this life. You gonna arrest us? Fine. We're gonna stay in Washington, D.C. Well, we're gonna hopefully teach the DC Dems how to do some damn work and how to be about that life. Because please believe, as badass as this is, the right, those Republican people who like to hold government hostage are looking at this and saying, okay, oh, we could do that. So when the next, they might even try this in the U.S. Senate or the U.S. House. Where is Nancy Pelosi? Where is Chuck Schumer? Where is what's my black dude who just became Democratic president of Democratic National Committee? Harrison, I think his name. Jamie Harrison, I think his name is. Where are all these people? Where's Biden on this? Where's Kamala on this? Why are they silent? We haven't heard the Democrats talk about any of this. We ain't heard them talk about this abortion law. We ain't heard them out here saying we are supporting the Texas the Democratic Party of Texas. Matter of fact, we got the Justice Department and the Attorney General looking into this and looking into whether or not it's legal for the state of Texas to be pulling all this fuck shit. Where is that? We don't have any of that. And it's ridiculous. Let me give y'all some of the details. Because y'all see, I was about to have a whole moment. All right. Where am I at? Now, the state police cannot arrest these people as long as they're outside of the state of Texas. They don't have no jurisdiction outside of the state of Texas. So they only have jurisdiction while they're in the state of Texas. So, it was a part that I wanted to read for y'all. All right, so the article goes on to say the Texas Democrats who are in Washington left Austin on 2 private jets Monday. They have vowed not to return until the 30-day special session on the bill ends next month. Quote, our intent is to stay out and kill this bill this session, end quote, Texas House Democratic Caucus Chairman Chris Turner said on Tuesday. In a news conference outside the U.S. Capitol, he said that the Texans would use their time in Washington to, quote, implore folks in this building behind us to pass federal voting rights legislation. And they were standing in front of the Capitol building. Governor Abbott, who would not be outdone, then came back and said that he plans to continue calling special sessions until the voting bill is passed. So what you have, you got fuck shit and fuckery. Let me be clear. You have fuck shit and fuckery. Because now what you're telling me, Governor Abbott, is because you didn't get your way. Because, and even let's say for example, they had a closer vote. Like the Republicans have a pretty good, you know, uh, majority over there in Texas House. But what if it was more close? What if it was a 50-50 split or a 51-50 split or whatever? They have 150, then that's what? Yeah, that's 125 split. Then you would have Greg Abbott doing the same thing. Well, I'm gonna call another special session until they pass the law. Well, I'm gonna call another one until they pass the law. Well, I'm gonna call another special session. That's basically what he's saying. I'm gonna keep calling them until y'all get it, until y'all pass what I want. It's not whether or not they give it an up or down vote. It's until it goes the way he wants. Because now he's the dictator. Now his word is law, and now everything that he wants must be passed. There's no democracy in this. It's all what he wants. That's the point that I'm making. It's only what he wants, and it's ridiculous. And we are going so far away from what these people envisioned the country was supposed to be. The racist ass white men that wrote the Constitution or said that they wrote the Constitution after they stole the language of it from some key black people. You know what those racist ass white men wanted? Probably not what they see today. I'm just saying. Let me go back and see what y'all, because y'all got a lot to say. Y'all are over here saying a lot. But if I move some, wait, I don't listen. I don't know and I don't understand why the powers that be on the Democratic side are silent on this. Now the squad been speaking out on this for a while. You know, all America, y'all know who the squad is. I don't need to go back through that. They've been speaking out on this, but the rest of the Democratic party has not. And here's what let me tell you the dangerous politics that are being played right now. Okay, here's the dangerous politics. The dangerous politics knows that they want to make decisions based on some of these little primaries and these little things, these preliminary little primary races that are going out, that are happening across the country. Like there was a couple races down in Georgia. There was some in New York and in California and in other places, some primaries and stuff. The problem with the politics of what we have going on is this. They were like, oh, the numbers are showing that the voters are leaning more centrist and more toward the center on the Democratic side. They're not really feeling or in tune with the far left or the liberals. Hey, stupid dick fucks. It's well known that the young vote, or the vote that tends to be more liberal and more to the left, usually don't get involved in the primary. Their numbers dwindle in those early primary races, and they'll come out during the general election. So the centrist Dems are leaning on, well, the numbers don't lie. You see how the people are voting, negating the fact that when you come back to the major election in November, there's going to be a much larger base of Democratic voters. And what's going to happen is they will be more left leaning. And when they see the fuck shit that they got to choose between, that's how you get the Hillary Clinton losing to Donald Trump, because you all had pigeonholed yourself into, Oh no, the numbers show us that the people want a more centrist view, not knowing, no, they don't. You're reading the room wrong. You're reading the room all wrong. You're not following the tea leaves. And what the tea leaves is showing us is that both parties are getting further and further apart, especially when you deal with that young vote. Those young Generation Zers are either real racist and white supremacists, or they are real hanging off the deep end left progressive. That's where they pretty much are. But you got idiots in positions of power. And so what's happening is in Texas, these people found a loophole. They learned, see, they're playing the kind of politics that Mitch McConnell would do. This gives me something that Mitch McConnell would try on this in the Senate, just to prove a point. And at this point, Dems on the national level, you need to take a lesson from the Texas Democratic Party and say, I don't care what we got to do by any means necessary. We about this life. We gonna make it do what it do. We gonna make it happen. Because what's not about to happen is us allow on our watch this shit to go through legislation. And so the Democratic Party, who are going to lose a lot of voters, is allowing the voting rights bills not to get passed in Congress. See, they ain't about this life. They're allowing something like the filibuster and the Joe Manchins of the world and the Kirsten Cinemas and their fuck shit to run wreck shop through whatever agenda y'all trying to push. Because you're not going to be able to push an agenda because Mitch McConnell already told you he's not here for you. He's not here for anything you want to do. He's not here for trying to let you do anything. He already told you that. You people are stupid. You people up there in Washington that call yourselves Democrats are stupid. Listen, Premium Choice, what's up? Somebody need to roll him down a flight of stairs in that goddamn wheelchair. Cause I don't. We got a lot going on. Big ups to the Texas Dems, but I want to know what's going to happen after 30 days when they have to go back to the great state of Texas. You mean that, but the governor already told you, I'm going to arrest these people and then I'm going to basically lock them in the state capitol building until I get what I want. And once he gets them in the building, basically it's a done data because even if they abstain, an abstention is like a no. But it doesn't matter because the Republicans know they have the numbers. They're just waiting for these people to come sit down in the building. That's all they want. They want them to just come sit down in the building. Oh, you here? Okay, good. You ain't got to vote. You ain't got to answer the roll call. We see you, girl. We see you. All right, you counted as here. All yay votes. So you're going to see a whole lot of abstentions. I don't know. It's a mess. I just I just foresee 2022 being probably even more of a bloodbath than 2010 was. If y'all remember that bloodbath in 2010 that the Democrats faced when they lost Congress, that was a mess. That was brutal. That was a bludgeoning. And so I we're I mean, I have so many questions. Like, and this is why I continue to say, I said this when Joe Biden got elected, and I'm going to continue to say this. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, you do not get a pass. You do not get to tell us black people Oh, wait a little bit. Oh, just give us a chance. No, I ain't giving you no goddamn chance. I'm not waiting shit. Because when y'all wanted our votes, it wasn't, y'all didn't want us to tell y'all, oh, wait till the next election. Oh, wait. No, y'all wanted it then. And just like y'all wanted votes there, we want legislation now. We want an input to all of this voter suppression legislation. We want all an input to all of these anti-protest legislations, and we also want real criminal justice reform. One that relooks at everything that is policing in these yet to be United States and acknowledges the history of policing with the slave patrols and acknowledge the histories. That's the history of sheriff's departments, but the histories of police departments where they wanted to put black people off the streets because they said black people brings down, just by nature of their dark skin, brings down the land value, and so they will police the police departments in major cities were thrown out there, and in their handbook it says if you see black people loitering, you ask them, where do you belong, and get out of this neighborhood. Why are you here and where do you belong? Because you don't belong here. Anyway, we need criminal justice reform in that regard. We need a whole lot. Miss Harris, Miss Harris. Last time I checked, Joe Biden was supposed to be putting you on the team for two reasons: to fight for the people of color, three, I should say, fight for the women, and to be a progressive voice on his team. I'm not saying you way progressive like the squad, but you, when you were in the Senate, was way more progressive than you are right now. Y'all, this is what we got. That's all I got for y'all today. I've been on here an hour. I just wanted to come on real quick and tell y'all what was on my mind, what was bothering me. Y'all go. I gave y'all four good stories for y'all to go look into. Y'all to go research. Y'all to go pull some more information that you need. But that abortion situation with the state of Texas is a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. And what that means is that's going to give conservatives and the pro-lifers the blueprint to keep moving this up the chain until it can get to the United States Supreme Court, where the 6-3 conservative majority is waiting. Hey, Julia Jules, they are waiting for the opportunity to. Now, what they see, here's going to be how they're going to do it. They're not going to fully overturn Roe v. Wade, but they're going to agree to these laws that are like what Texas got going on, which essentially would be doing away with Roe v. Wade. And then those stupid ass new justices can sit on there. Well, we didn't get rid of Roe v. Wade at all. We kept our promise. Yeah, but you just gutted it and made it where Roe v. Wade doesn't mean anything at all and it's ineffective. And all the while allowing these pro-lifers to win and take control over women's bodies. How can you justify saying, oh, you can't have an abortion after 6 weeks? What? A mess. A mess. A goddamn mess. Y'all have anything else for me before I get off here? I had to come on and give y'all a quick one today. Just a quick. I had a bunch of stuff to do today before I go to work. Listen, Jason, some women still have periods at the beginning of their pregnancy. So that it's just a mess. Anyway, but Mitch McConnell already told you he don't care if they kick the bucket. Biden is not getting no nominations through. That's what Mitch McConnell said. But he said Biden would not get a nomination through as long as I can help it, as long as there's breath in my body. The lazy boy snacks were so good. Y'all gotta order y'all some BR Burns. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of y'all. Shondo's around the building. Shondo's throughout in and throughout the chat. As I always say, I love y'all. I love on y'all. Thank you all for being vocal, present, and active. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you all for everything and anything that you do for me and for the channel. It is much appreciated. I love y'all for how y'all support me. That's all we got today. Um, yeah, we got some stuff to look at. We got some stuff to be concerned with, and we're gonna continue this fight. We ain't gonna be quiet for nobody. Until next time, that's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.